You know, I used to think I was funny. I used to believe my sarcasm made me clever, that it was harmless when I made jokes about my marriage. But it turns out some jokes don't fade away with laughter. Some jokes break hearts, including your own. My name's Rachel. I'm 32. And I thought I had the kind of marriage that could survive anything. We'd been together for 8 years, married for 5, and while things weren't perfect, they were ours. We were comfortable. Too comfortable, maybe. The spark had dimmed, but I thought that was just what happens after years together. You stop trying so hard. You forget to flirt. You forget to say thank you. You forget that love isn't something you just assume will always be there. It started small, little jabs at him during dinners with friends. Things like, "Oh, you know, Mark, he'd never survive without me." Or, "He's allergic to romance." Everyone laughed, even him sometimes. But one night, at a small dinner party, I took it too far. Someone asked if I ever thought about what life would be like if I hadn't married so young. I smirked, swirled my wine, and said, "Honestly, I'd probably be a lot happier. Marriage just slows you down." The room laughed. I laughed. But when I looked up, I saw his face. Mark wasn't laughing. He didn't even fake it that time. He just stared at me for a long second, his jaw clenched, then quietly stood up, excused himself, and went outside. At first, I brushed it off. He was sensitive, sure, but he'd get over it. He always did, except he didn't. That night when we got home, he didn't speak a word. No angry outburst, no cold shoulder, just silence. He sat on the couch staring at nothing while I poured myself another glass of wine, pretending not to care. When I finally asked if he was seriously upset over a joke, he looked at me with this calm, almost defeated expression. "Rachel," he said softly, "I think you actually mean it." His voice was so quiet it hurt more than if he had yelled. I told him he was being dramatic, that it was just humor, but deep down, I knew he was right. I'd said it like a joke, but there was truth buried in it. I had been wondering if I'd be happier without him. Not because he was a bad man, but because I'd stopped appreciating him. I'd been restless, bored, searching for something exciting, not realizing that what I was slowly destroying was the one stable, real thing I had. The next morning, he left early for work. But when I checked my phone at lunch, there was a text from him that simply said, "I'll be staying at my brother's for a while. I need space." I froze. I tried calling him, but he didn't answer. Tried texting, but got nothing back. That's when the panic set in. It wasn't the kind of silence that comes from anger. It was the kind that comes from giving up. Days turned into weeks. He didn't come home. Friends asked where he was, and I made excuses. He's busy with work. He's visiting family. But every night I came home to that quiet apartment, and it felt emptier than I ever imagined. His side of the closet was still full. His coffee mug was still in the sink. His smell still lingered on the couch cushions. But he wasn't there, and for the first time, I realized what alone really feels like. I thought space would make him miss me. I thought he'd come back once he cooled off. So I waited. I texted him sweet messages, thinking of you. "Hope you're okay." No reply. After 2 weeks, I drove to his brother's place, my heart pounding the whole way. When I pulled up, Mark came outside. He looked different. Lighter. Like the weight he'd been carrying, me, was gone. He didn't yell. He didn't cry. He just stood there and said, "Rachel, I've been thinking. Maybe we were happy once. But I'm not sure we make each other happy anymore." I begged him not to say that. I told him I'd change, that I'd stop making jokes, that I'd work on being better. But he shook his head. "You can't just stop making jokes," he said. "You have to start meaning what you say. And I think you already did." That was the moment I realized I'd already lost him. It wasn't the dinner party that ended us. It was years of me slowly chipping away at him with my words. Every time I called him boring, every time I teased him for not being romantic, every time I acted like I was doing him a favor by staying married to him. Those words had built walls between us. And by the time I realized it, he'd already found the door out. I went back home that night and sat in the dark, staring at our wedding photo on the wall. I looked so young there, so certain that love would last forever just because we wanted it to. I thought of all the times I'd brushed off his small acts of love. The coffee he made me every morning, the notes he'd leave on my desk, the way he'd always pick me up when I was too tired to drive. And I realized how much I'd taken for granted. He didn't come back. A month later, I got divorce papers in the mail. He didn't even hand them to me himself. Just a manila envelope on my doorstep, silent and final. I signed them, not because I wanted to, but because I knew I'd already destroyed the foundation of what we had. Now it's been almost a year. I still live in that same apartment, but it doesn't feel like home anymore. The laughter I thought I wanted is gone. The freedom I joked about feels like punishment. I spend my evenings scrolling through old photos, hearing his voice in my head when I least expect it. The quiet is so heavy now. It follows me everywhere. Into the kitchen when I make coffee alone. Into bed when I roll over and no one's there. Into my heart when I think about how easily I threw everything away. Sometimes I replay that night in my mind. The way everyone laughed, the way I laughed. I wonder if anyone noticed that he didn't. I wonder if I would have said it differently if I'd known it was the last straw. But I think the truth is, even if I could go back, I might have still made that joke. Because I didn't understand the value of what I had until it was gone. People say time heals. But it doesn't heal what you refuse to learn from. Every day I wake up and wish I could tell him that I didn't mean it. That I was just scared and stupid, and didn't know how to say I was unhappy without pushing him away. But there's no more space for apologies now. He's happy. I saw it online. He's smiling in a picture with someone new. She looks kind. She probably listens when he talks. She probably never jokes that she'd be happier without him. As for me, I've learned that being alone isn't freedom. It's the echo of everything you took for granted. I joked that I'd be happier without him. But happiness isn't found in being right. It's found in being grateful. And I'll carry that lesson with me for the rest of my life. Because the truth is, I wasn't just wrong. I was cruel. And now I know what alone really feels like.